Like I swear to you, the competitive imbalance that game is going to have for whoever is the sacrificial lamb there, I'm already emotional. And I know it's gonna be me.
You're entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. This is the Super Bowl recap. Plus, there's other football news going on. We got Hall of Fame. We got Aaron Rodgers. Super Bowl odds for next year for Super Bowl 60. Geoff Fienberg, I want to congratulate you because you hit your gigantic Eagles future. The only person I think who had a better Super Bowl than you was maybe Cam Stewart.
Yeah, Cam might have had a good one, but if you include my NFL honors work, I think I'll take out Cam there. The only stress on the Eagles was like that first offensive PI. It's the only moment of like consternation where you thought the game might not go your way, but today's a great day. The day after the season is great. It's great. Like next year, the draft, free agency, all that stuff. You know, we weren't in the Super Bowl, all of us. So we think about next year. And it's here. In a couple days, come the weekend, I'll be sad. There's no more football, and I'll miss it desperately. And God, I was watching that game like I want week one, and I want it to start fucking tomorrow, and I want to play the Chiefs. That's me sitting watching the game, thinking I wish week one was tomorrow, and I wish I had the draw. Nonetheless, I love it. I love it. The new year is here, and I'm excited about that.
Well, Geoff correctly selected the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I did not, nor did the coin, nor did Tim Undergust.
Tim Undergust.
That is not my name.
Bad night for us.
What are you going to do?
I could have went harder at those Eagles outlines I talked about for 2 weeks and then didn't have the guts to like really push into the middle on it.
I suppose. I mean, who there were no indications that the Chiefs' offensive line was simply going to just fold up and not show up in a game. That didn't happen against the Bills. That didn't happen against the Texans. Like
the
what
AFC
we
sucks.
saw, maybe what we saw on Sunday night isn't the way we thought the Chiefs would get. When you thought the Eagles would win by margin, it wasn't because you thought the defensive line was going to sack Mahomes 6 times and that Mahomes was going to throw 2 picks and be terrible. Like, I think you just thought it would just be a shootout and they would just outgun them. I was genuinely surprised the second time now that Mahomes has lost the Super Bowl because nobody can block up front. They got to get that fixed.
Welcome to the rest of us, pal. Like, look at your life. You didn't have the guards to handle anybody.
Untrue.
No.
I believe that at the number 11 pick, the second most valuable pick in the NFL draft, the Jets took Super Bowl winning guard Becky, who pushed a truck up a hill.
Look at, the Chargers got dominated by the Texans in a playoff game because they couldn't stop anyone up the interior. I don't know, like they had the problems the rest of us seem to have. I don't know. Good for them. Taylor Swift saw the Chiefs lose the first game ever.
Is that
what
true?
A shocker.
Is that true?
No, not actually.
Like the first
But
game
what,
she's
she
been
did?
at?
No, I just mean like, think if you're a Chiefs fan, you should still be standing and applauding. You should literally still be clapping for everything you've gotten. And it doesn't even mean it's over. You could go back and win again next year. I don't think so, but I'd understand why you and everyone else would. What they had given you, like to be where they were 3 years later, 3 straight Super Bowls, going for the three-peat. Well, I believe 2 things can be true at the same time. 2 things can be true at the same time. Thing one. Chiefs fans deserved every second of last night. Every second. Every solitary moment of that game, they deserved to have to endure. True thing number 2. I'm a loser Chargers fan.
You know who the biggest loser of last night was?
Was it the guy from
That
that show,
scoring
The Biggest
bug.
Loser? Yeah, the
I
scoring bug
liked
was-
it. It's
No,
got to be a little smaller. I
Yeah,
liked
That
it.
scoring bug is awful.
So
I liked it.
anyone who it's not good. Yeah, anyone who has a Mac knows that if you go to the bottom of the Mac, you can like scroll up or scroll down to make it bigger or smaller as the bottom bookmark of it. They need to scroll that down a little bit, and they need to have the transparency, something behind it. It looks too naked. Maybe by this time next year we'll be completely used to it and it won't be that big of an issue. But yeah, the first thing seen, it's like, who came up with this? Like someone's kid?
It is one of the treats of Super Bowl week where it's like we get next year's bug unveiled at Super Bowl. It's like a little unveiling for us hardos, and we all notice quickly. You notice
we didn't like CBS's last year either, remember?
But here's the thing. I think this one is great. They'll just make it smaller. I think the transparent is good. Maybe I could be wrong. I do agree. I feel like it took up a bit more of the screen in total, like start to finish. But overall, the concept of what they did, I like it, I think.
It's made for somebody watching 8 games at once in an 8-box or a 4-box, so they can quickly pick out the score on a week 7 2 p.m. start. That's what that scoring bug is for. If you're watching the game alone on the screen, I think it's too distracting.
Distracting.
The one thing I really liked about it were the bells and whistles off of it. So I too felt it was big and it looked like a kid did it. And if you just dropped in a like black bar behind it that was also transparent, I thought it would have popped more. It would have been bigger. Shrink that down, we won't have a problem. But when there were penalties and whatever, and you could have like info come off of the team that they're talking about, or have a stat bar, or have a photo of anyone, like here's Steve Spagnuolo, he's defensive coordinator. Like here's like stats about Steve Spagnuolo. I thought that part of the score bug worked really well. Like the ability to put information into it and deliver that information, execute that so you know exactly what's going on, I thought was very good. But yeah, just way too big.
I agree. I don't love its positioning either. I think it would have been better served maybe in the left-hand top corner or the right-hand top corner, but
it was strange, too, when they kept having the lingering stats on the bottom right, and they just kept them up there for no reason.
Yeah, I don't need to know what Hurts's passing stats are the entire game. Like, you can show me that on occasion. I don't need to see it every single snap.
Oh, by the way, credit to you, Tim. You picked Jalen Hurts as MVP. You said it was the best value on the board.
Great call, Tim. Great call.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. I didn't get much right in this Super Bowl. I got that right. So tails never fails. Well, it's weird. Like this Super Bowl, the game wasn't very good, and the golf leading into it wasn't very good. It was like not a great Super Sunday in terms of sports watching.
But was the camaraderie good?
We'll talk about this
Okay.
in my corner section. I don't want to talk about. I want to have another go at you about something.
I want to have a couple goes at you too, so don't worry.
I'm sure you do, Jeffrey. I'm sure you do. But altogether, like the game wasn't great, but the right team won. And like the Chiefs just got absolutely whipped on the offensive line. And when that happens, you can't win. It doesn't matter how good your quarterback is or your receivers are. Like you can't block, you can't win.
Can I say that while I didn't agree with the original call on that OPI, like I guess the Chiefs letter to the rule, he jaywalked, maybe he touched the face. The makeup call on Goddard for like a personal foul after the play when the Eagles were about to punt was so much worse. It was such a horrible call, and I don't think the game's like what happened probably changes. But have no idea how long, like they had to punt there, and you have no idea how long it stays in like a 0-0 slog, if that's the case. That was the worst fucking penalties. The refs started that game horrible.
Listen, I don't like the A.J. Brown call, but I think after watching, like when they kept showing the replay of it, I mean, he didn't like grab his face mask, but he pushed off his face like 3 times. You're going to call something. I get why you would call it.
He put his face in the visor of the cornerback, basically blinding him from knowing what was going on in the play. It was the right call. I don't know if the Goddard call was the right call. I thought that was way too soft.
It benefited me. It was a horrible call. I thought both calls were horrible, but the Chiefs did things they never do. There was like an offside or something on a 4th and a big short yardage play. They had insane penalty on 3rd and 20 or something like insane.
They had the sack and he was lined up in the neutral zone. And then, on the 3rd and 21, they just ambushed Barkley after the play and just for no reason. And then first down, here we go. You can't give, they were already playing better. You can't give them extra chances now too.
Still think the moment of the game I will remember is Chris Jones keeling over when Hopkins dropped the wide open catch on third down, which, he catches that ball with the Chiefs getting the ball to start the second half. That game could have been right into the thick of it if the Chiefs do something on that drive.
Yeah.
And just him sort of keeling over and rolling on the ground. It was like the entire air was being let out of the Chiefs. You kind of knew at that moment, this is over now.
That really,
but even early in, sorry.
You kind of hit on it. That did feel like the turning point. I don't know if the Chiefs end up coming back, but as we kept talking about in the room when we were going over it, that he makes that catch, they go down, they score a touchdown, they get the ball first. Like, just even having a little bit of momentum, like at least proving it to yourself so you can go down the field and score a touchdown. Maybe you come out in the second half with a little bit more energy that, it could have been 17-14 in a weird world if he makes that catch. And then you're like, okay, game on.
Yeah. I mean, giving them the touchdown even with that catch, whatever. Give them the field goal, but sure, fair points. I just Mahomes was just off.
Bad. It was the worst game
obviously
I've ever
they had
seen
him happy feet, but early, they were just he was like, I never seen him be Steve Nash and throw bounce passes or like whip the ball at his tight end's feet or something.
He didn't have any time. He had no time. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you have no time, you can't overcome that.
Okay, good. So that's what Patrick Mahomes would have looked like if he played for the Chargers. That makes sense.
Yeah, or the Jets. If he just played in front of 5 turnstiles, that's what would happen.
You once said that Zach Wilson was incredibly Mahomesian, and today you were proven right.
Very prescient. Very prescient. Though I don't know that he would have found the 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He
would have got benched for Mike White by that point.
There were things on the Zach Wilson tape that looked. I didn't mean he's capable, but that's
special.
like saying that guy can hit he's not like the same player, but there was just some things that were like, holy shit. But
he's like a left-hander who can throw 97 miles an hour. He's got no command.
Yeah, you have to be good at other stuff. You have to gain the respect of a locker room and a huddle.
But when he does finally get the ball over the strike zone at 96, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy is just such a great pitcher. He just continually walks batters.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's good, but I'm saying
he has flashes of brilliance. I agree. I stand by that too. Just there were too few of them.
Way too few. Like less than Darnold even gave.
Naturally.
Were you surprised that the Eagles were able to do all of it without Barkley really contributing that much on the ground?
Did the Eagles do anything on first down? Like while they were getting the lead and dominating? It seemed a very weird game. There was a moment in the game where Jalen Hurts had more yards than any other running back or receiver with his like 70 rushing yards. I think Devontae Smith just caught his bomb to bring him to like 69 or something. It was insane how little anyone really contributed.
It was I'm glad he won MVP because it was the Jalen Hurts. So I feel really good for Jalen Hurts because even when we'll do our quarterback rankings at some point, Mahomes is still going to be number 1. And like, is Hurts, if you had to rank them today, would you have Hurts as a top 5 quarterback? If you want to start your franchise right now, you had 5 quarterbacks to pick from. Would Jalen Hurts be one of them, Geoff? No, right?
I'm going to say
the answer
no.
Now has to be yes.
I'm going to say no, but I had a great time watching him be amazing. He was amazing in that first Super Bowl. He just had that fumble, and it was disastrous. He was so good. It was awesome. It was awesome.
The Super Bowl changes all things. I mean, I think he has to be 5th minimum on anybody's list. I actually don't think a legitimate list can exist without Jalen Hurts being at least in the top 5
because
now.
why legitimate lists have to exist? And maybe this is because I'm the loser who cheers for a team that's historically had good quarterbacks and can't win. Like when you think about how great the offensive line is, how amazing the 2 receivers are, the running back, it's like if you put the quarterback who you're saying he's better than in that offense, are they better than they are with Jalen Hurts? Like that's the question where you have to, create your own thing. So no, he's not a top 5, but he'd be pretty close in the if you put him ahead of players who've accomplished nothing. I honestly wouldn't even argue with you.
I think that 5 is like the debate that you're going to have, him versus some of the other guys in that range. 'Cause I think right now the top 4 are pretty set in stone. Like, Tim, if it was you and you were if you were the Jets GM, and you don't just go off Madden rankings, you go off what you think, you would want Jalen Hurts to be your quarterback and not Joe Burrow?
Let's see. Mahomes, Allen,
Lamar,
and
Burrow.
Lamar,
Jackson.
Burrow. That's 4.
That's
That
four.
is
Burrow. That's my 4.
Yeah,
That's it. Those are the only people. Those are the only quarterbacks now I would take over
so
Hurts.
Okay, and then
That's
it's
the list.
What? Hurts, Herbert. Who's in the next group there?
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, of course,
I think.
yeah.
I think that's the big question that you'd have to have. And I know it's only 1 year of Jaden Daniels, but do you think that Jaden Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts? Before he won the Super Bowl last night, I think he would have got a 99-1 response that Jaden Daniels is better.
Maybe.
I'd rather have Jaden Daniels.
Not now. But I mean, Daniel's ceiling can't be as high as Hurts' ceiling. Hurts' ceiling is Super Bowl MVP.
But it's like
he literally can't have a higher ceiling. So
But
I'm taking Hurts.
But like Trent Dilfer won NFL MVP, didn't he? Or at Super
No, he
Bowl
didn't.
MVP? Oh no, he was the one who
No,
got
he
to go.
didn't.
He got to go to the to Disneyland because they didn't want to.
Yeah.
This is why you'll tell me like Zach Johnson can win the Masters because he's won the Masters.
No,
before.
no. Hold on. This is not Brad Johnson or Trent Dilfer.
No,
I'm not showing that.
Hold
No
on.
one here did that.
That was
made
actually the
here.
case that I wanted to make in 2025 with this team around him. Is Jalen Hurts like the fancy new version of Trent Dilfer?
I
No.
disagree.
I'm asking.
He had what? 15 touchdowns.
No,
had 15 rushing touchdowns this season.
Yeah, no.
He throws
better.
a fantastic deep
Way
ball.
better.
No.
But
no.
but is what we think a game manager is in 2025? Like we're still thinking about if Sam Darnold just doesn't throw any picks, like he's such a great game manager, or is this what a game manager looks like? He's someone who can pick up a first down with his legs. He's someone that can rush in touchdowns from the 1 yard line. He's someone who goes out of his way not to make critical mistakes at critical times. And I mean, the throw he made to Devonta Smith was that was the icing on the cake. That clinched everything for him. That was an amazing throw. But it's like all these guys can make the throws. It's just if you're asking him, like in the reverse situation today, if Hurts is on the Chiefs, is it any better for the Chiefs? The answer is no.
Well,
You
no,
gotta
it's
give
just
him
Chiefs
credit.
had the best QB that you could have.
He's been
Nothing you could do.
He's been in the league such a short amount of time. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's played excellent, really, in both games. And when you consider how much he still had to grow, how young and like in that first game, I'm not giving him a free pass for any mistakes, but it's. I can sugarcoat some things. He's truly shown quite an ability to meet the moment that, other quarterbacks who are highly revered, haven't met the moment.
No.
Situations are different and the situation's important. And I've got an embarrassing question because you think I'd know this. Has he signed the is he on a contract yet? Or is that still, he's going to get one?
No, he signed the contract, 5-year, $250 million deal.
You're good.
Let's see. Go to Support Trek here. When did he sign that?
Yeah, you're right, because he was the second rounder, so he got a.
He came up early.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not trying to take anything away from Jalen Hurts. It's just the conversation we're having is he the 5th best quarterback in the league or not? I mean, at worst, he's probably like.
But
6th.
he's not Brad Johnson, or he's not that kind of champion either.
Pat's saying a kind of maybe what Brad Johnson of 2025 is.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that is because this was a team win for the Eagles. Like when we broke down the game, I believe it came out of my mouth. The Eagles are better at every facet of the game except quarterback and coach. And that's why I picked the Chiefs -1.5 like an idiot. And it was all there in front of us. The Eagles have a complete team. We saw what happened to the Eagles when they didn't have a complete team last year. They got bounced by the Bucs in the first round. It's a lot of in the moment. And and if we're gonna compare it to Jaden Daniels, it's 1 year. Who knows? He could go full CJ Stroud on us next year.
Right. And let's not try because from a fantasy ranking, he's fucking the best.
Who Hurts?
Love him. Yeah.
Yeah, Hurts is awesome.
When you score 15 rushing touchdowns, why?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not. If I had to rank it today, you're right. He would probably get a lot more grace than potentially when we do this in August officially.
I mean, look, you would trade what you have for him.
Would you?
You would. Jeff would.
Jeff?
Jeff would trade what he has for him. Of course you would.
You trade Herbert for Hurts. I don't think the people would do that.
I don't. I don't think I would. I don't know. I think that'd be interesting if like there was a poll among like executives. Would they? I don't think that would be a slam dunk that Tim makes it out to
I don't know if it's
be.
a slam dunk, but like I think it's the better side of the trade.
But it's crazy that you wouldn't have said that a week ago.
Winning Super Bowl MVP and playing like that changes a lot of things.
Does it?
Particularly when you've played amazingly now in 2 Super Bowls.
Okay, I
like,
mean, Eli,
yeah, it kind of
Eli
does.
Manning just got kept out of the Hall of Fame. You wouldn't have made that case for Eli Manning. At
Eli
any
Manning didn't play good in this good in either of those Super Bowls.
That is true,
To
but
be
he still
perfectly honest.
he still won 2 of them.
Yeah, that's true. Hurts probably should have won 2 MVPs as well. He was the MVP of the game, even though they lost 2 years ago.
They wouldn't give him the Ron Hextall treatment and give him the MVP anyway.
No, it's happened once in NFL history. It doesn't happen very often.
When did it happen?
Super Bowl 5, I believe. Super Bowl 6, a losing player won. I mean, this year in the NHL, the losing player won the Conn Smythe. It does happen.
Did they?
Yeah, McDavid won the Conn Smythe this year.
Interesting. The last one I actually remember is Ron Hextall doing that. Maybe there was
no. Jaguar did it as well. Jaguar did
right.
it as well.
Yeah. Halifax Mooseheads, Jean-Sébastien Jaguar.
It doesn't happen often for a reason, but every now and then it can happen. I contend that Terrell Owens should have won MVP of the Super Bowl that they lost. Deion Branch.
It's hard in football to give it to a losing player, though.
It's hard. I mean, it has to be an exceptional situation, but like sometimes exceptional situations emerge.
One of the room topics that we had, Geoff, was about Sirianni, who, what is this, 4 years of Sirianni? 3 years of Sirianni now? Hey, how long has he been their coach?
He was hired the same year as Staley. So
2021.
3 + 1, right? 4.
All right, so then he's been to the Super Bowl twice, and the playoffs, 3 of those 4 years? Like another bad start, and I could see people calling for his head again. People just no credit has been given to Nick Sirianni for this at all.
Do you want to know?
Although a Super Bowl didn't buy Doug Peterson much grace in Philadelphia either, and only bought him like 2 years.
True, but I mean, this is now the second time in 3 years that Sirianni's been to the Super Bowl with this crew.
Like, let's talk about. Well, first I'll just say in Sirianni to give him credit because he deserves his flowers, and something I don't know that you have noticed. But when I say this, you might be like, oh, yeah, like, wow, he's didn't do that this year. I don't think I brought up a single introductory coach's press conference. I don't care.
Just like the rest of us.
No, sometimes.
You just wanted what you couldn't have. And as soon as, like a child. And once you got what you what you couldn't have, now you decide you didn't want
I think, like, Pat, like, you might forget this in some way. But I'm not talking about Staley's press conference, but like by all accounts, he hit like a grand slam. And then you had your fantasy nerds come on all summer and talk about what a grand slam this guy was. And Nick Sirianni was so awkward and couldn't put a sentence together and was bumbling his words and talked about planting, and he was like mocked. And same with Dan Campbell. It was like mocked. And, look who's fucking standing. And look who's leading teams. And on that note, there's a rumor on the internet out of the Athletic today that Kellan Moore might bring this guy over to be his defensive coordinator.
I know. I saw that. That's for later.
Okay, that's for later. Sorry. But what this is important. Because to your point on him and his job, like Howie Roseman is king. Howie Roseman has built 2 Super Bowl champions with, I guess we'd say, 3 different quarterbacks, 2 different head coaches, different rosters. Every year the draft ends, and we're like, holy shit, how'd the Eagles get every single like awesome college player? Like just fell to them. Like, what the hell goes on there? All the Georgia Bulldogs living up to their reputations. First round, second round. What a marvelous roster and roster build. They traded for a high-level receiver. They signed the running back. And everything else they just fucking built.
Tim, was this the worst game Mahomes has ever played?
It's got to be. I mean, I have to go through the litany. I don't know how well he played in Super Bowl 55.
I mean, how games has he ever lost
touchdown
in his career? Period.
Well, he didn't score a touchdown in that game. It's not the worst game ever because the whole game has to count. Even though we discard the later part far more than the last. like we also can't pretend like it didn't happen at all. So it's one of the worst games he's ever played.
How long has he been in the league?
This is his 5th season.
No, it's his
No,
8th
more.
season.
Sixth season.
This is
Has
He's
he
been to
even
six
lost
straight-
20 games?
7 years.
Well,
'cause
they
he
lost
didn't
six.
play. He
They
didn't play
lost
the
6
first
last year.
He only played week
Fair enough.
17 in the first year.
You're right. I was sort of discounting that year, but you're right about that. Well, he lost. They went 11-6 last year, Geoff. So that's 6 losses right out of the chute.
Sure, out of the chute. Wakes marginalizes out this year, or averages out with whatever happened. I don't know if he's lost. He might have lost like barely 20 games in his whole goddamn career. So dissecting his worst game ever, like, wouldn't be even that hard.
Patrick Mahomes is 106-27 between the regular season and playoffs as a starting quarterback.
What a fucking record. And he was incredible after his 12 minutes with the media. Aaron Rodgers would never. Like he does what a quarterback does. It was all
Can
on
you
him.
just
It
let
was
it
on.
go?
No, there's other quarterbacks too, but he's the easy low hanging fruit. But
For
real
you.
quarterbacks, when just wear it. They just wear all of it. They don't even let another teammate wear it. Everything, it's just on them. He was a true mensch in defeat. All class, nothing but class from Patrick Mahomes after one of his worst games ever. Not like Cam Newton, who can't even take one question.
Or,
So there, I bashed another quarterback.
or dive for a fumble.
Yeah.
There was he's jumping out of a plane in some reality show.
Wait, they accused him of cheating, though.
Oh, maybe, but someone's like, you couldn't dive for the fumble. You could jump out of the plane. Like, it's pretty good. I like.
Did you
that.
see the commercial with the old ladies, Geoff? Oh my God, that was funny.
I'm really not up
Cust,
to see.
They were
Lost.
like outlaws. Oh my God, there was one lady. She was crocheting the whole time, even when she was like in the line to get her photo taken, like her mugshot. She was crocheting. Oh my God, I was in stitches. No pun intended. Sorry.
The old ladies do it for you, eh, Cust? Geoff Hunter.
It was a very funny commercial.
He
You
had
ever watch that movie where the old ladies like went for Brady or
80,
something?
80 for Brady. I mean, the way that Brady was looking last night, he looked like he was about 80 years old.
Oh. When we spoke this
Jeff,
morning,
didn't
Pat,
it look like they were on Bourbon Street?
They weren't
are
on
you
Bourbon
talking
Street.
about?
It was a green screen, Tim.
I know they weren't, but
No,
didn't it
no,
look
no,
like-
no, you did not know they were.
Initially, I didn't realize it was a green screen, and I wasn't alone in that.
So Cust thought that they were
come on.
calling the game from the middle of the street, Geoff. That's what he thought.
I thought they had pre-recorded that segment outside because it looked so perfect. Like the way it was, as much as we criticized Fox's, score bug earlier, like that quote unquote green screen was like top notch. Man, that was good.
yeah, I will say the green screen like technology has gotten a lot better. It looks, some of the stuff looks like way less corny, and it looks very, very real. When Pat asked me about Brady's shirt this morning on the golf show, I honestly hadn't seen it.
Did you see it? Did you see it yet?
Yeah, like what?
Oh,
Like
man,
what?
the tuck.
this is-
What was the tuck?
This goes on the list with the has to bring his own lunch to Augusta. Like egregious. I think it was a fine call. He did good last night. Hopefully it's the last game he ever calls in the NFL, but I highly
That won't
doubt it.
happen. That
I
won't
highly
happen.
doubt it. I
He'll
highly
be calling the shots for the Raiders, Geoff, while he's interviewing other players before games.
Yeah, it bothers me. Like I can't even explain it, and I keep saying it, but I get mad when people don't think it's a deal. We'll see. I think the owners are going to make a fuss out of it. I think they gave him leeway this year. I guarantee at the owners meetings this spring, what have you, it's going to come up. It's an ultra competitive league. And Brady's only known to be one of the fiercest competitors ever. I have no doubt he would try to garner any advantage he could within gray area of that, what that job would allow. And no, I want no part of it. I would hope the Chargers would never be within 100 yards of him.
Given the way that they've hired an excellent head coach, an excellent offensive coordinator, I don't know that they need a lot of help from Tom Brady and his
So you think he
connections.
just did that? Now it's like all hands off?
No, I don't know if it's all hands off. But
Because
I
you
do
see what
think,
they've done here. You see what they've
I
done.
think they have built an excellent base in Vegas.
okay.
And if you're looking for a worst to first team next year, you could do a lot
You
worse.
don't even know who the GM is.
I highly disagree with that. I think that this coaching staff in particular, especially with Pete Carroll being at the helm, that this is very clearly like a project for the next few years to find the pieces in place to either make Chip Kelly their head coach or go out and find another head coach. Because Pete Carroll's not going to be coaching this team when he's 79.
I
Yeah,
think
this is
team
just
could
to
be
like
good
bring
quick.
some stability to the organization, help them through a transition. I agree. When this team is great, I don't think Carroll will still be the coach, but I could see why people would want to give him credit for foundations that he laid. But Tim, like, you see what is clearly in play here. He doesn't have any title. Like, he doesn't have the job title. If he had the job title, he wouldn't be allowed to broadcast. So he does the job without the title.
Sounds clever.
It's just too competitive a league. These owners compete. I mean it. I don't think they're going to like this. I do not.
How many DMs have you sent off about this?
No, there's not a DM topic, but we should stop talking about it. I talk about it a lot. My feelings are known. We'll wait till there's news about it. We'll wait till there's more news about it, but just know I'm highly bothered.
We know. We've known for 8 weeks now.
Yeah, once he's being de facto president, it's a big issue. If he wants to be Serena Williams and be a minority owner, he can do that. But once you're doing the job as president, you're not allowed to do the other job anymore.
A lot of the talk this morning, Tim, has been about Brady, his legacy, how it was foolish to put Mahomes in the conversation with Tom Brady, which is really interesting. And obviously, Brady was never blown out, not only once by Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. That'd be impossible, unless we're in some sort of mirror universe situation. But now Mahomes has been blown out in 2 Super Bowls. And weirdly enough, that if Mahomes had just lost last week and not made the Super Bowl, it would somehow be better for him.
I actually agree with that statement as
but that's
backwards as that sounds.
It is, but there's a lot of this that goes into it. Like some of the years, like especially what was the year the Titans beat the Patriots? It just like mollywop.
2019
was that, and they just killed them in the first round, or like when
they beat them by a point or
was it,
2.
I'm thinking of the Ravens game, the Ray Rice game.
Yes, that was
against Brady.
2009.
Yeah, whatever that was. Like that, none of those get held against Brady and just quarterbacks in general. It's not just a Brady specific thing about games that they lose that aren't the Super Bowl. So somehow, because you make the Super Bowl, it's just like it's a big stain on you because you made it all the way to the end and lost. I always just find that logic flawed and just really intriguing.
You bring that
I don't know if it's
logic to
flawed.
golf. Because
Yeah.
it's like if Rory just finished 40th, it's not like the biggest story tomorrow, but him finishing second is just the biggest story. And
Yeah.
he could have finished 38 spots worse.
Yeah, if Rory
and
just
we wouldn't talk about
Yeah,
him.
if Rory had just missed the cut in every major that he finished second in, people would be like, "Oh yeah, Rory, good major champion, not perpetual loser." Like,
If Rory had missed a cut in every major over the last 10 years instead of not, he would have won the same amount of majors as he won.
this
without missing any
is
cuts.
exactly what I'm getting at here. Is that, but you wouldn't consider him a perpetual loser. He'd be a
Choker
guy
or
with 4 majors. You'd be like, cool. Like John Rahm is like uncompetitive in majors at this point. No one really cares.
That'll
Well,
change.
He was leading at the end of what is a de facto major last year in the Olympic gold medal till the very end.
You mean like,
So to say he doesn't compete.
you mean when he gagged it away with a big lead in the Olympics against a 40-man
that
field?
indicates he was competing. He wasn't like a non-factor.
So
he had it on the bracket and let it go.
if live guys are competitive in something, according to you, it's a de facto major now.
No. That was a position that you and Geoff took on the show.
No,
which
we
is
said
the
we
Olympic
said
gold medal championship is
no,
like a major.
That Geoff said that it will eventually be seen that way. I push back to say, Fabrizio Zanotti isn't like the 39th best player in a major.
Nope. Yeah, I never said it'd be seen like a major. I say it will have legacy implications and will look better or as good on a resume as a players' championship. The players know it carries legacy implication. You've even seen Rory acknowledge it's his the Masters and the Olympics are his career goals. Nothing else kind of matters. The modern player has caught on that this is going to carry weight, and no one is going to say I don't want to play in it.
So basically, what Tim heard was what he wanted to hear, and then said that we said it.
Yeah, Tim deserves credit.
I think I'm distilling down your actual position.
You're really not, because we just gave you both of our positions from now and at the time.
Tim deserves credit because he did champion what Olympic golf probably will mean before most people realize what it will mean. So for that, I'll we thought maybe by the time they're done with LA and Australia, we'll feel that, but no, it clearly happened at the last games.
But we have a golf show that, Geoff, you and I do every single week if people want to hear more about golf. Tiger already pulled out. Poor guy.
Really?
Yeah, he's just like his mom died last week. He's like,
I know, I completely understand, but I'm surprised that he put his name into the hat given the circumstances.
Did he commit after his mom died?
I don't remember. I mean,
the news broke.
It's his tournament, so I think he felt obligated to go, and he just tried to give it a go. He's like, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely understand why he wouldn't want to play. I mean, didn't he miss the U.S. Open because when his father passed? It's completely understandable.
But let's play this game then, Pat. Sorry to do more golf, because if he's almost healthy enough where he thought a week ago he could play, and maybe he's just you think he'll wait that long? You don't think he'll?
Oh, he'll be out at Bay Hill.
Yeah, but players of the week.
He always used to play Arnie. He used to always play Arnie's tournament.
Well, he used to play a lot of fucking tournaments, Tim. Now he plays 3 a year.
Well, yes, that's true. But Arnie's tournament was when he always made a point.
Sure, but the players never used to be the week after. It used to be Bay Hill, Valspar, then players, and now it's Bay Hill players. I don't know if he's got the body to go back-to-back weeks. And I think that he would play the players over playing Bay Hill. That's at least what my guess would be.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
and
you see him
at
Honda?
An exemption for him before, right?
Yeah, he's exempt to every signature event ever, and to the players.
Okay, cool.
And he's a former champ of the players. I think they all get in. He's won it 5 times. He's won everything 5 times.
That does seem like the sort of pretentious thing the players would do.
Letting Tiger Woods play?
No, letting anyone who's a past champion in, their 3-hole playoff.
I actually don't think the former champs are in, but I think that if you have a certain status on tour and you're still active, that you could be in.
Stands to reason.
And just anything Tiger decides he wants to play, they're going to allow him to play it.
Of course.
When he shows up to the U.S. Open, and they're like, "Oh, you're not qualified, Tiger." It's like, "Oh yeah, here, you're in now. We wrote you into the field. It's fine." As long as he wants to play in it. Anyway, back to it. So the Brady legacy thing, what does Mahomes have to do now in order to re-catch up to Brady, Geoff?
Just win another Super Bowl in the next couple years, and it's kind of all forgotten.
I don't agree.
If they come head to head, he can't. He can't win a tie now. He just can't. He lost head to head to the guy. And people will always kind of stand for the past. So but I don't care. That's not who's greater, Mahomes or Brady. I don't give a shit. Those are spoiled football problems.
I tend to agree.
Also, it's worth just noting when people talk about Super Bowls, every single one of Brady's Super Bowl wins, with the maybe exception of the first Eagles Super Bowl, was a game the Patriots probably should have lost, or were filming the team in the week before, or something incredibly fluky happened to allow them to win that Super Bowl. So yes, Brady went 7-3 in Super Bowls, but of his 6 Patriot Super Bowls, he got really lucky in 5 of them.
Okay, so, and he got unlucky that the guy who nicknamed the Hitman couldn't dislodge a ball stuck to a dude's helmet.
The game shouldn't have been there that close. Why was it that close in the fourth quarter to begin with?
Well, then now what are we talking about?
I mean,
it shouldn't have been that close.
Catches in Super Bowl history.
It was at that time said to be the greatest team.
Well,
in
and
NFL
you know what? And
history.
then they lost, and it wasn't. So there you go.
Don't give me that. Most of Brady's Super Bowls are all very questionable.
This kind of goes back to my original point that dude made 10 Super Bowls. That's really the accomplishment here.
That is the
drunk?
accomplishment. Yes, I agree that the 10 Super Bowls is the accomplishment. Attending 10 of them, to say, he won 7 of them. Well,
are you drunk?
If John Casey doesn't kick a ball out of bounds on a kickoff, or if they run the
And
ball
if the
with
Bills
Seattle.
didn't
Or-
blow 13 seconds, how lucky were the Chiefs to get there?
That's one instance.
Fuck
I'm just
off. No,
All right,
I don't
no,
care
fine.
I don't want to defend either of these guys. I do not. But you make this position where I've got to like.
I mean, what have I
defend
said that
Brady
isn't
and
true?
bash
What have I said that?
Mahomes.
What have I said that isn't true?
What you've said is it's not what you've said. It's just I think you're drunk.
Why? Because I'm stating something.
You
And I know it's
basically
not
holding
based on-
the
you
lock
basically just
against-
stated that Brady should have 0 Super Bowls. He should be
I
0 and
didn't
10
say
in
zero.
Super Bowls.
I didn't say that.
Then what are you saying?
I said the first Eagles Super Bowl, they dominated that game, and the game in Tampa, he dominated. Other than that, they probably could have
Yeah,
or
he
should have
just
lost all
willed.
those
He
other Super
rose
Bowls.
the team above. He kept fighting it. Like I don't
Oh,
know.
he rose the team above. He inspired Malcolm Butler to intercept the ball on the goal line.
No,
Well, I
there were
mean,
things
we
that happened
saw
that
the
went
breakdown of how that ended up happening. That was all on Belichick, that one, because they practiced
Sure.
that during the week. But either way,
I-
the Patriots and Chiefs and Brady and Mahomes in these situations, like, yeah, again, if a few things had gone the other way, do they lose a bunch of those? Yes. The reason that they are who they are is because they win all these close games. Like, that's
Yeah,
their
like-
skill.
Mahomes, Rodgers, Manning, they might actually all be more talented than Brady, but that guy went
Definitely.
to 10 Super Bowls and won 7 of them, and I will not condone like you framing that as a fluke.
I'll frame that at least 6 of those wins were kind of fluky.
That's one of. I mean, you can vote in the Custies right now. There were so many votes in the Custies already. We had to make a new link because we went over the server capacity for the first
Like,
one. So those
the
ballots
Patriots have been so
those
bad
ballots
for
are
so
made.
many-
Can you please let me fucking throw to the link? Can you do that for me? Oh, now you got nothing to say. Is it a yes or a no?
Obviously, by saying nothing, it's a yes.
No, it's not. I need you to respond because you might just cut me off in 3 seconds again. If you hit the description right now, we have a new link to go vote in the Custies. We already have the first ballot box that is jammed, that has been retired and put to the side. Your votes still count, people. And maybe if you come to the June 7th live show in Toronto, which if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get first crack at the tickets. For those, we're down to 2 venues, Geoff, and I will pick one within the coming weeks. Maybe you'll get the early results on who ended up winning this. But yes, go ahead, Tim. Continue now, please.
I was going to say people who've been listening to the show may forget because the Patriots have been bad for the last 5 years. I can't stand that franchise or anything it stands for. And I have a long list of grievances that I haven't had the opportunity to bring out in a while because they've been so terrible since the 2019 season. But don't think I don't think about it all the time.
Do you
Super
have
Bowl
any-
60, Geoff. The Patriots are currently 100-1 to win the Super Bowl. Any guess what the Jets are?
200 to 1.
125-1.
That's understandable. The Jets don't have a quarterback.
Tim, be honest. And because I ratioed you again a couple times, your man didn't delete them, but I still win, so you owe me this if it's true. Do you have anything in the drafts pertaining to Mahomes winning last night and how
No.
that affected Brady and the Patriots' legacy?
I will, my hand to God, I did not have a draft on that.
Okay.
I had drafts about Lamar Jackson and the MVP. Those had to get deleted.
What about
But I
live,
did
what about
not
live
have-
ratings?
Wow, those were deleted as soon as I realized it wasn't going to be on broadcast TV. But no, I had nothing in the draft folder vis-a-vis the Chiefs last night. I can honestly
Or
say
the
that.
Patriots?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Had I thought of it, I would have written something.
I
But actually
was
didn't
under
think
the
to write-
impression you were workshopping it all weekend.
No, if I had thought to write a tweet about it like in advance, I actually would have put it in the drafts, to be honest. But I didn't think of it, so I didn't do it.
Is your Cust Corner topic about the halftime show, Tim?
No, it's not.
Okay, let's talk about the halftime show because this is really the big thing, the debate-wise, that has come out of the Super Bowl. I thought it was god awful, but apparently it just wasn't for me. I mean, I'm not super familiar with Lamar Kendricks, as Tim would call him, his entire catalog. But Geoff, I could barely hear what he was saying.
So I know he's a hit maker and people love him, but full disclosure, like I'd have to recuse myself. I go outside, I get air, I stay outside, I get more air. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. My takeaway from the show is like the optics of it didn't look
Grand. It wasn't
big
grand.
enough. Yeah.
That's Tim. That's what you and I were talking about. Like usually you have this big spectacle, and like it seemed like more of an artistic performance than a Super Bowl halftime show.
It felt more, yeah, sure, or even maybe on the scale of like the Cowboys on Thanksgiving minus Creed, but not Super Bowl. Like, not Super Bowl spectacle level. And rapping is hard in that like format, like a strict rapper, I would think. So maybe I'll give some leeway to that. But I don't know. I think people who like him were happy. So
Yeah, well, that's
I liked Samuel L. Jackson. He was my favorite part of the halftime show. Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam was great.
Uncle Sam.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson dressed up as Uncle Sam for the halftime show.
Yeah, there was also like, because there was people in the room that we were with who were like big into this, and one of them really seemed to like it, Tim. The other ones were just kind of like, seen better.
It's not my music scene. So for people for whom that they like it, great. I just, the last year's halftime show wasn't for me, or the year before, or the year before. And like, I have a sneaking suspicion that if they can keep themselves together for a few weeks, Oasis will be the halftime show at next year's Super Bowl.
No, I think
that won't be for me either.
I think
Maybe
Morency,
like an NFL England game.
I think Morency hit it on the head. It's going to be Metallica in San Francisco.
Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, listen,
that'd be cool.
I don't want to complain, but getting the your team never goes to the Super Bowl, and they make a Super Bowl in San Francisco when like last year was New Orleans and the year before was Vegas.
Hey, you could have been assigned to go to one Super Bowl, Geoff, and it could have been in fucking Minnesota.
So every time I complain, you bring that up, and I forget every time. Sorry. Yeah, fair.
I don't complain about it.
Well, they had those chicken tenders you liked so much.
They were so
you were
good.
locked in a mall. It's like your dream.
Yeah, like it worked out great for me.
Oh, I would love to go to San Francisco next year. I mean, I feel like I've been the only one who's been to San Francisco anytime in the past 15 years. I quite enjoyed my time in San Francisco.
The stadium is nowhere near San Francisco.
No, it's in Santa Clara, right?
Yeah, so that just whatever. That's its own thing. As for the halftime, that makes sense. I was actually trying to think this morning, not being the biggest music guy, not asking anybody. Like, who are the olds left that they could still, like, how many more older acts do they have that are Super Bowl worthy that they like can do? Because I feel like we're probably running out, and Metallica I think would be worthy. So that's a great call by Morency.
Yeah, I think they're all right around 60. And it really feel like there was, I mean, maybe this is what they want from the halftime show, is that like the people who didn't get it are like, what the fuck was this? And everyone who liked it really liked it. Now there's like even more talk about it. Maybe that was the whole like goal of this. But usually like when I'm thinking about like Super Bowl halftime shows, and I guess I'm in that demographic as old guy who's not with it now either, that I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like, give me something that I know, because if I'm not even 40 and I'm kind of out of the loop on this, the vast majority of viewers, Tim, are going to be older than I am on this. I don't know, like, my wife watches, and my father-in-law and dad were watching this. Like, they had no clue what was going on.
Someone like the Foo Fighters could be in the halftime show.
Yeah.
They're not too obscure. And then Dave Grohl was a huge name.
I don't know if the Foo Fighters, I don't know. I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, well, Jared
Jared
suggests Matchbox 20, Tim.
Oh, look, you don't have to twist my arm to say Matchbox 20.
But hold on, though. Like, I don't really
I
care.
recommended Huey Lewis in the News, since it's going to be in San Francisco.
I don't think he plays anymore. He's got some hearing issues.
I don't know.
Tim's picking him anyway.
Sports.
But yeah, there was some sort
it
of
just
like...
seemed like this guy is like, he is a true superstar, though.
Yeah,
right?
but just to think about it this way, like when The Weeknd played a few years ago, and they had that like the mirror set up and like the cool camera angles and going through, like that felt like a real production, that felt like a show. Like it was like, and it was highly choreographed last night, obviously, but like that felt more of a spectacle than, like it was just really dark. It didn't sound like the audio was all that good. I couldn't make out what he was saying the entire time. And apparently there was some sort of Drake thing that like, if you knew, people were super into, then I had to ask questions because I had no idea what was going on. Like, that shouldn't be a part of the, like, I shouldn't have to be asking questions during the halftime show of the Super Bowl, but like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I saw Ian McMillan, who was at the game, was like, as a Canadian, I have to boycott the halftime show in solidarity with Drake.
From what I've learned about this, you do not want to be showing
Yes.
solidarity for Drake after it
Yes,
was explained to me what was going on.
Yes, you do not. Okay, yeah, no. I mean, I'm not like yeah, you really have no clue if you had no idea. But I mean, I don't know the music, but like just being on the internet, I was aware of the beef. So you really I had no clue about it.
Yeah, like I am generic old guy who watches this game now.
You were at a Big Shiny Tunes concert last week.
I was.
That's you.
That was me. That was great. They played some jam.
Put the Goo Goo Dolls out there.
Are they even still alive?
I don't know.
Name me 3 Goo Goo Doll songs. Because now I have to Google
Iris?
besides that one.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can name it.
They had Iris. They had the song that was from the City of Angels soundtrack. Maybe that's still Iris. No, that is Iris. Yes.
I don't know that I can think of another one.
Well, maybe
Slide. They did Slide, didn't they?
Okay, there's
Why
2.
won't you slide? Yeah, like that song.
Okay, there's 2. So maybe what the Super Bowl needs for a halftime show, this is where I can get my one-hit wonders festival off the ground. That you just take bands who had one really big song and rotate them through for 5 songs.
Exactly.
would
Like
literally-
that car last
that would
night could have
smack.
one headlight.
Yeah.
That would smack like like here comes How Bizarre.
Unfortunately, that guy's dead, as I found out.
Also, that's the name of the song, not the name of the group.
Yeah, it's OMC is the name of the group, and they're from New
I
Zealand.
actually think that would smack pretty hard.
You know who we're gonna see as like a Super Bowl halftime show is like Blink 182.
I don't know, man.
One year it's
Really?
going to be a country music one too.
Well, I mean, has Taylor Swift ever done it?
Country music.
No.
No, but Nashville's building that new stadium, right? So if Nashville gets the Super Bowl in a year or 2 or 3, when the new
The
stadium's
NFL's
built,
already
that will be
the
a country
NFL's
music.
milked her for a lot. I don't think she wants to, but at some point when she's
No,
like,
but some
maybe-
big star like Garth Brooks, who's like one of the greatest album
Is
musicians. in
Garth
terms of
Brooks still
sales of all
is
time.
Garth Brooks still
Yeah, he's
alive?
He is alive.
Yes,
He is
yeah.
alive?
So like
He's
someone
actually-
like him would be a good pick.
I
Wait,
think
when
he's
was the-
dealing with some legal problems. That,
when was the
I
last time he
don't-
like
I don't
played
know.
concerts? Like 25 years ago?
No,
No,
I don't.
more recently than that, I think.
Yeah. Taylor Swift will play the Super Bowl when she's like older and not the biggest star in the world anymore, but it's like still gonna be like very big.
Yeah, she's on the list. Yeah, when she's a little bit washed and on the down, like if she's at the apex now, when she's like down here a little bit, then she'll do that halftime show.
Yeah, and there'll always be that demand for her. That's always a lifeline. But smart. She has said no many times apparently.
I did say for
For
San
her.
Francisco, if they want to keep up, because they've been using rappers now for like the past 4 or 5 years, they should just really have E40 do the halftime show and it's just a bunch of ghost riding going on in the middle of the field.
Or just bring out Fish.
Oh God.
Oh,
Do a 45-minute long song.
crunchy tune for 18 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be a 3-hour long halftime show. They're just jamming, man. You don't get it.
Oh, dude, I was at some of my buddies who I was with last night were at like Fish in Mexico.
I'm sure the drugs were great, Geoff.
Oh yeah, it's like a concert on the beach. These guys, good life, good life. I don't know. One of them's even convinced somehow magically, like brainwashed his wife to liking Fish. And I'm like, that'd be like me brainwashing my wife to like football. like just I don't know.
It's
And
a
we have a
vibe.
lot of Fish fans in our audience, so I don't want to.
No, listen, I'll alienate whoever. I'm just being there. Like when we saw them at Bonnaroo, and they played 2 shows at Bonnaroo that lasted like 8 hours each. Like their fandom is so crazy. Like it's so devoted, and to follow them around. And if you're not, and maybe that's like this halftime show that like if you're not in that, like you just don't get it at all. Because we're sitting there talking to these people, like what are you doing with your lives? Like what's going on here? Like, it's
They
just
follow Fish.
that's their job. Follow Fish.
They're like the people who go to a golf tournament and just follow one golfer for the entire round. Like they're not there to experience the golf tournament. They're there to follow a golfer. And like if you're not in that world, you can't make sense of what they're doing.
I have a buddy who like he's really up to nothing right now. Like I feel bad for him, but he had like a lot of prospects many years ago, and he pretty much just chose to like follow Fish for his life, like in a hummus truck. and like set up an event. And like, okay, man,
a hummus truck or a Hamas truck, Jeff?
a hummus, like
Okay, I just wanted to make
I need
sure.
it.
Like one of those is getting stopped at the border, the other one isn't.
Yeah, he actually did have an incident in Arizona at a border. It's not the sort of place you want to get caught with stuff. They're not. They're the flat brim state troopers. And one of my other friends got a call from jail, but that wasn't my problem. Yeah, so I don't know. It's an interesting thing. You're right. I don't want to hate it. The people that are into it, they're just super into it, and it's their thing. And I know a lot of people who are like in that culture.
So, did you have any fun in the room moments? Because the biggest pop of the night and then the biggest like, ooh, was Tim Butts, who was sitting next to me. Now, you know that I had all the Dotson unders. So the Dotson, he's running in motion the entire, the Eagles started running guys out on the field. Like I had to like Google their number. Like, the fuck are these guys? Like, what are they doing out there? So they run Dotson in motion. They hit him down the field, touchdown. And Butts is like, 20 into $1,000. And the whole room is all fired up. I've just lost all my Dotson bets, but I'm pretty happy because that's a big hit, a 50-1 first touchdown. And then like, we're not even thinking that it's not going to be called a touchdown. And then they show the replay. It's like, oh no, this is devastating. And then
that was our chalk line moment in the room that Geoff described there last week.
We had the same thing happen, and it wasn't a group thing. It was just one of our buddies, 65-1. Like you, everyone is like paying their respects, high fives. He's a pig rolling in shit. And then that first replay comes on, and it's like clear as day.
And do you know what the secret worst part is, and Tim doesn't know this, is that I was thrilled because the biggest bet I had down on the Super Bowl cashed on the very next play with a Hurts anytime touchdown.
Yeah, and I know Pizzola was big on first touchdown. First touchdown would be a wide receiver, so it wasn't like a huge number, but it was still like 2.5 to 1 or.
Hey, as we predicted on the Best Bet show, that Cam and I would hit our gold picks, Rob would lose his and hit his silver, which happened.
Yes, it hurts over. What a game! What a game!
Smashed it. So what other inside the room stuff? Oh, we had a friend who like bet for the very first time. Dude should never bet again, Geoff. He was sweating every play of the game when it wasn't going his way. It's like, all right, no more.
He got his Mahomes 250-yard passing.
Yeah, but he didn't get he didn't get his Kareem Hunt touchdown.
Yeah, that was rough.
So
yeah, you just like you see this thing's just not for you, man. If you're gonna sweat that hard over your like $80, I don't know. It's just like, but I get it. If it's the first time you're doing it, it's like a new game and it's like super fun. Like obviously now we're so jaded and chilled. Like,
have you ever listened to yourself when we do the live shows for golf, and like you're sweating 15 different things and panicking during the Cut Sweat show? About the various wagers.
Everything matters. Everything matters.
Okay, will you just chastise somebody for having those exact type of sentiments? Look, betting's just not for you, man. If you're going to get upset about every little this and every little that.
No, but I like it in the moment. Like I'm into it. But it like I don't. When it's over, like I wear losses pretty good. Like I don't. They don't bring me down. Like the game's over, the TV's off, go in the next room. My kids don't give a fuck. Let's end football. Let's eat ice cream, win or lose. So when daddy's older, you're like, that was so weird. Daddy would always just be in that room yelling at the TV. They'll just remember Chargers highlights and they'll like associate. Yeah, but win or lose, we ate ice cream.
My MVP of the Super Bowl was John Hamm, who looked like he had been partying for 100 straight hours and then came to the field.
I missed it.
Oh, you missed Ham? I mean, I'm someone who's, when you stay up for a bit, you get the big bags under your eyes. The Hammer had it.
Huge bags.
And then it looked like Andy Reid had been up for like 100 straight hours too, because dude was just zonked out on the sidelines.
It's a tough night for Andy.
This was before the game. It's like someone gave him the script of the game, and all of a sudden they were supposed to win, and it said, oh no, you're losing now. And he was just like, oh man. And then he couldn't get into his nuggies until halftime. It's just devastating stuff for him. Anything else on the Super Bowl before we move on?
No, I think we've pretty covered it.
You love that commercial that had all the mascots in it.
Oh, that was great too. The Energizer Bunny was in it, and there was all kinds of great mascots.
Was Mr. Peanut in it?
No, he's dead.
Yeah.
There's a callback.
A Custy award-winning callback. Remember that time that you thought about Mr. Peanut going to the opera and he snapped in half? That
The
does
thing is about Mr. Peanut is that he's the coolest mascot out there, right? Because he's got the monocle, he's got the top hat, he's got the cane. Like, he is like anybody's fair depiction of class.
Sophistication.
He is. He is Mr. Sophistication.
When you're going on a golf trip, you don't need any more stress. You don't need any more costly airline fees. With complimentary insurance, real-time tracking, and dedicated support and on-time delivery, you need to use ShipSticks.com. Just schedule your shipment, attach your label, and ShipSticks handles the rest, delivering your gear directly to your destination. You don't want to have to worry about a connection, whether your clubs are going to make it and you're racing to the course. No, your clubs are going to be there. ShipSticks offers white glove shipping for golf clubs and luggage. Travel worldwide without luggage. ShipSticks delivers to 180 countries for a hassle-free, gear-free journey. Right now, ShipSticks is offering my listeners 20% off your first shipment when you go to shipsticks.com and use the code PatMayo. Go to shipsticks.com and use the code PatMayo to get 20% off your first shipment and save yourself the hassle this golf season. That's shipsticks.com. Make sure to use code PatMayo so they know that I sent you. Welcome to the TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp and it's electric. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf with 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour. Monday, February 17th, triple header time. Atlanta versus LA, Atlanta versus the Bay, and the Bay versus Boston. Then Tuesday, it's Tiger and Jupiter against the New York Golf Club. Tune in to TGL matches only on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus. Keep up. It's golf. Well, that brings us to the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
I just want to reiterate, despite Jeff's claim that the season was over, how much fun Super Bowl parties can be. I got to experience one again yesterday, and it's a constant reminder that despite the criticisms that some people make of the Super Bowl, because it's not pure enough and it's not real enough, it's actually an incredibly enjoyable experience. And it's lots of fun. And I don't think that it's any less fun than the week one experience.
Can I say, okay, you know what the thing is? I have an amazing time on Super Bowl. I always say I have a great time. I go to a great party, great friends, great laughs, great camaraderie, but it's not football season. That's my only thing. No one ever said getting together with your friends, eating, drinking, good times, hanging out isn't fun, but it's not football season. That's it. You trying to spin this somewhere? Not fair. I'm clear as day on this after many years, and you still don't understand what I'm saying.
You said you wanted to criticize me about a couple of things?
No, I had a couple of questions, but I'm.
Why don't you fire away?
I just wanted to know, forgetting you and Pat had a bet, which you lost. How does it feel to say something would be the biggest event in a sport in 20 years and it be smaller than
this
like
audience.
A mouse fart?
It was smaller than the audience that watches this show by a significant margin from the audio downloads. Like almost 10 times as many people will listen to this show on Apple Podcast than watch Live.
You don't put it on TV for people to see, that's going to happen. We were all under the impression it would be on Fox.
I was excited. I would have watched it.
We all were. It just didn't.
A gimmick, but it had enough to pull me in.
You know, the clips I saw looked really cool. I couldn't watch it on TV here. It was annoying.
How's Cleeks Reddit?
Well, both cliques and of course Legion 13 won the tournament, even though the cliques didn't win the tournament. Moronk won the individual title, but what actually matters is the team title, and that was won by Legion 13.
And they're going to win every single one of these, by the way.
Yeah, do you think there's competitive imbalance on the teams? Like, should there be a salary cap or something? What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think super teams is good. The more competitive elite teams you have, the better chance you have the people will want
But
to
they don't even have a rival.
Teams.
Like, at least the Mets
takes
are
time.
trying to
It takes time.
spend.
It takes time, Geoff. I know you don't think this is a sincere thing, and you're just trying to make fun, and that's
Listen,
fine.
Congratulations, you getting the best. You getting the ultimate lifeline. Trump's gonna throw you a lifeline. Good for you. You don't deserve it, but you're getting one.
Seems like the
Congrats.
majors are throwing them a lifeline. So
They deserve. That's one simple exemption. That's fine. That's not overdoing it. It should be earned. I got no issues. Well done.
Well, that was
Okay.
that was a thrilling Cust Corner. You got any other topics?
Well, I don't know. You asked
it's
me.
been a long season.
And we do have a new full Cust Corner coming out in 2 weeks with me, you, and Gary, and that we've already recorded. So
yeah, and I've already changed part of one of the things we talked about on that show.
well,
It's already different.
let's use that as a tease. You're no longer in on this McDonald's game.
No, it has got nothing.
I lost them.
I lost him too.
No, I said it's got nothing to do with the game.
Oh, well, you're not playing the game anymore. You were all
No,
about
but
the
it's got
game.
nothing. I was, but then I decided no. I just need to stay away from fast food for a while.
Good for you. When did you make that? Like, how long?
It's been like since the start of the month.
Good for you, Tim. And that was amazing because the precursor to that was you saying you can't get home without being lured in by.
Yes, it's all part of a conspiring problem. So yeah, I just decided I need to be away from.
So
it
the
for a while.
deleting the apps or what? You
I
canceled.
haven't deleted the. I haven't deleted the. It's not going.
Good for you.
Like I got a gift token from somebody recently. Says had someone sent me. Well, it was our friend Mike who went on the trip with us. Sent me one of the play tokens in a DM and said, "Here you go, Happy Valentine's Day." And I had to thank him. That was a very kind gesture, but I'm not playing right now as I'm trying to avoid fast food.
It's very kind
But
of him,
not even,
especially
like,
after you
coffee?
set that alarm to wake him up that morning.
I set the alarm because I was planning to get up and go for a walk.
Did you?
In my defense,
Did you? I feel like
No,
once you
I
wake
didn't.
everyone up with the alarm, like you're pot committed to getting up and going for the walk.
It's a
I mean-
crazy move. It's crazy.
I simply just went back to bed.
Unlike
Which-
a guy's trip to set your alarm for 6.
It was the last day, and I was planning on getting some exercise in before we left. And it didn't happen. I woke up, I walked across the room, I turned the alarm off, and then I went back to sleep.
So what was the other thing that you've changed since the Cust Corner that will come out in the future? Cust Corner 50.
That was the thing.
by
That
the
was
way.
the thing I had changed. That was the thing I had changed.
Oh, so I was right. It was about the.
You said you had
McDonald's game.
questions for me, Tim.
Well, I had a question for you vis-a-vis why you hate Super Bowl parties so much.
No,
You,
I.
When did he ever
Smack
say
that
he?
down.
When did he say he ever hated Super Bowl parties?
He said, it's full of people who don't really watch football.
You don't
and-
listen to people when they talk. You just hear.
I
what
know
you
what he's
think.
talking
you
about.
think what you hear, and then you just roll with that.
The party's great. It's just like not football season. It's like a gimmick to the football season. But I even said we have a friend who made so many bets. I mean, he bets a lot.
Is it
and he
you?
likes it is good. No, he's got a real job, makes a lot of money.
Cam?
He can find, so he can handle it, right? He had like an Excel spreadsheet. Like that's how many bets he had. And then one of our other friends who just always down for a good time. Like, I don't know, this would annoy some people in the room, but he would before big plays, he would ask this guy like the most monotonous question, like about his mortgage rate or any like home improvement projects planned for the year. And this is like must watch sports, like leave me alone. And I was just laughing so hard and I didn't care. Like I'm there for the camaraderie, not the football. I go to the Super Bowl party. I don't give a shit about the football. It's about the camaraderie. Football's like a bonus, but it's not football season. It's not. It's not. It's fine. We can disagree on it, but it's not.
See, and I tend to agree with you. I mean, doesn't that sound like something that one of our friends, let's call him, I don't know, Brad, would be doing during a Super Bowl party, Tim? Man,
Yes. Although not usually, because his team's usually in the Super Bowl.
I mean, well, not
I
so
know
much.
what you mean.
As you mentioned, the Patriots aren't there. Man, what's your mortgage rate? You want to know what mine is? Like, no, I don't. I don't care.
Yes, that is exactly the type of conversation that would take place. Except it wouldn't take place long because unlike your friend who just says, we got to watch sports, someone would just turn around to him and just say a string of profanities and end that with, don't ask me any more questions. And
that would, and then that wouldn't stop him.
It would stop him from talking to that person.
Yeah, you just turn the other way and continue the conversation.
But my friend is doing it like as a joke.
Oh.
Because he knows this is
isn't a
like
joke.
so serious and we're going to like, let's lighten the room. Like you're too intense with your sports. And, you know, in the group chat, it was like, okay, everyone supply like your conversation topics that we're only going to unveil on third downs. Right. But, you know, we have a buddy who's like, must watch sports.
So,
you know, and that's all. But
I see. I'm with you. I like that there's the fun of the Super Bowl party. Like, I don't really care about the football game anymore. Like, I came in, I knew I was going to win regardless of the outcome. That was excellent. Maybe that's why I was a bit more demure on the game. But the Super Bowl party, just like our Thanksgiving party, is far less about the football and far more about just like hanging out with people that you haven't seen in a while. Like, Tim, where else would you ever have heard about a story and a question being asked to the room that if you got asked to fuck some guy's wife, but then he asked you to come in his mouth, is that gay? Where else would you hear that? Only at a Super Bowl party.
That conversation took place a couple of years ago. Yes.
And do you know what the answer
That
is,
was
Geoff?
a Super Bowl party.
That the conclusion that he came to about this?
what is it?
It's not gay if you're not gay.
This year's Super Bowl party was far tamer than that.
It was far more hinged than that one was. Yes, that I mean he wasn't there, but it was still just I've never heard a room of like 17 people stop everything that was going on to listen to this. And the story framed as, I know this guy that. And within 10 seconds, are you talking about you? Yes. Continuing on.
No, we're just having a good time. We're laughing at each other. Like, obviously, props are being cashed, won or lost all throughout the night, even in a blowout. But no, it's just about, a good time hanging out. And my wife knows, like, the game starts at 6, but she knows, like, I'm out of here. Like, come, like, 1, 2 o'clock. Like, buddy, we're going. Day's mine.
All right, I think that's... Oh, no, I have one question for you, because this comes up on Cust Corner 50, Geoff. And obviously, you didn't get to weigh in on it, and we did. Who's the biggest babe in movie history?
Biggest babe.
Like, just pop, like, snap decision pops into your head. Because I had Liz Hurley and Bedazzled.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, Pat. Honestly, it's been so long since you had to use the bank. The internet these days. So I don't geez, I feel like I've been put on the spot here. I don't know, a lot of babes. That's a great one. What was Tim's answer?
You have to tune in.
Gloria Stewart from Titanic.
Yeah. We said Kathy Bates in Misery is Tim's answer.
Or Kathy Bates from Titanic.
Just Kathy Bates in general. Kathy Bates in the new Matlock.
There's just something about that, that Kathy Bates and her clubbing, and her hobbling.
Like, I don't know. This would be like pretty random, but like Kathy Ireland in Unnecessary Roughness.
Okay.
Was one that, like, as a kid, I loved that movie, so that did it for me.
I feel like the answer to this question always comes like, what did you think that the answer was when you were 15? And that is just the stock answer.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm going a little bit younger there. And then, I don't know, like...
that can be yours. That's fine. It's whatever you want it to be. But I'm just thinking
like,
that when most people answer that question, it's just, that's where they go back to.
Like, I'd say, like, my first, like, internet downloads were probably Demi Moore. But I don't know, like, Babe. It wasn't more. She wasn't really a babe. She had a vibe, though, back in the day.
Especially in G.I. Jane.
No, different. That's a different vibe.
It was a different vibe. All right, let's get
like
back
that.
to NFL news then. Cust Corner 50 coming out within 2 weeks' time. Sub to the Cust Corner exclusive feed. I think Cust Corner 33 drops up on that. I'm going to be more active in getting the old ones out. So the entire compilation is going to be up there. Also, vote in the Custies and sub to the newsletters. You can get first crack at those tickets. If you want to go to the show and you don't buy the ticket and you miss out on the tickets and don't get to go, that would be a real bummer, especially from the amount of people I've heard. So sub to the free newsletter, Mayo Media Substack, and check that out. Tim, you said that you couldn't believe that the Jets and Aaron Rodgers tried to upstage the Super Bowl with their news.
Somebody did. It was the biggest story in the NFL until kickoff of the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
That was the biggest story in football till kickoff. It overshadowed everything.
Oh, yeah. That's what everyone...
Overshadowed what?
Nothing. People sounded
All
like,
the
yeah, of
hype,
course.
all the pregame, it all got sapped
So,
out.
like, do you
because
think
people were only
Fox-
talking about the Jets and Rodgers?
So what sort of like you think like God damn it, someone worked on a pregame piece for like a month and it got scrapped because we had to talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Everyone's attention in the world of sports was then completely turned from the Super Bowl to the drama in New York until the kickoff.
I just actually totally disagree. It didn't even really come up amongst like it's just this point is like okay, like no surprise. It wasn't a shocking announcement, so that's why I disagree with your assessment that it took over any cycle.
I didn't even see it mentioned on the pregame show at all.
I think Jake Laser broke it. I could be wrong.
He did.
And then they were like, yeah, of course, moving on.
But I think it makes sense in the sense that if you're a new coach, you just don't want that man in the building. Like you need to set your own tone, and Rodgers doesn't go by anyone's tone. So I think I could see why a new coach like can't have him in the building, even if his last 8 games were decent quarterbacking play.
So there's odds out on where his next team is going to be because he's probably going to play, and you'll get him on that Russell Wilson contract where you basically don't have to pay him to be your starting quarterback. The Steelers are currently favored at 2-1. The Raiders are at 3-1. The Niners are at plus 350, which I thought was strange. Vikings 4-1. That's the one that I've been kind of saying the whole time. The Colts at plus 650, Rams plus 850. That's assuming that Stafford leaves the Rams. Titans at plus 850. Then you got the Giants 12-1, Browns 14-1. Browns actually weirdly makes sense, Geoff. If you have to pay Watson all that money, wouldn't having a starting quarterback who you knew you didn't have to play over him and you only have to pay him like $1 million makes a ton of sense?
Yeah, I would. That's not bad, and maybe he trusts Stefanski. Or Stefanski can trust him. Stefanski's gotten stuff out of old quarterbacks before.
Or
I don't.
Tim.
Yeah.
Titans plus 850. They trade the first pick or they don't take a quarterback with the first pick. They try to get a haul, build up the lines, and just have Rodgers there to be their starter until they find someone better.
Sure. I'd give him a couple of firsts in Rodgers for the first pick.
What?
Makes sense. I'd give them 3 first-round picks and Rodgers for the first pick in the draft.
I don't think that they would get 3 first-round picks for the first pick.
Are you crazy?
It doesn't seem like people are
That
clamoring
pick is
for the
worth.
first overall.
That pick is worth nothing. It's worth nothing. Nobody wants it.
Well,
you can read.
if
Hold
you think
on.
Cam Ward
You can read about how much Tennessee wants to trade it, how there's interested parties. In the end, they will sit on the pick. Why? Because they have too much respect for the league and the precedent of what the pick is worth in the public sphere to accept a trade for the first pick to move back 2 or 3 spots that would just be like an extra 2. The pick is, you almost feel bad for a Titans fan. Like the year you get the first pick is this year. Jeez.
I'd give them 3 firsts for that pick, and they have to take Rodgers' contract.
They would
off our hands.
run.
Yeah,
they would run.
Yeah, they're not going to have to take. They're not going to have to take the Rodgers contract because the Jets are going to cut Rodgers.
This is all a part of it. Like the reason they're getting 3 firsts is also because they're taking Rodgers in the contract.
Okay, I see that, but they could probably find. I wouldn't say as good of a deal, but then they wouldn't have to absorb the cap hit either.
So this
You're
is like
right,
the golf
but-
trade to the rant, like
Similar. I would take, I give them 3 firsts and Rodgers' contract for the first pick in the draft.
But if not, you can just sign Rodgers, and the Jets will give you 4 next year's first round pick for it anyway.
Sure, but this way you get 3 first rounders, which if you know the Jets are always terrible. Those are very attractive picks to have. If I were the Titans, I would take the trade, and if I have the Jets, I'd roll the dice. If I love Cam Ward, You get him with a brand new coach, and that could be magic.
Do you think that a quarterback goes first overall, Geoff?
Nope. No chance. It's Abdul Carter or it's Travis Hunter, and the pick is not tradable because it's not worth anything to anybody.
It'll get traded if they don't want it. Like someone will move up a spot or two. It just won't be a haul.
Yeah, it'll be such an embarrassing trade that I think they'll decide just not to make it.
Interesting. So if that's the case, you just run Levis back out there again next year and just try to be bad again?
Yeah. Maybe they sign Aaron Rodgers when he's cut.
I mean, the Vikings make way more sense. This way you don't have to sign Darnold.
Yeah, he's not going to do that though.
Why?
Do what? He's not going to do
He's not going to go. He's not going to go full far.
Why not? He's 2/3 of the way
He's
there.
just not.
Oh,
He's
boy,
not
I
going.
didn't
He's
even
not
realize
going full far.
I
He's
didn't
not going to
realize that.
Minnesota.
You don't
Yeah,
thi-
it's just I believe in my gut he will not do that, and therefore Minnesota's off the table.
You don't think that he would trade the, hey, you know what? I'll get these Favre comparisons, which I already have anyway, and I'll go to the Vikings and have as much success, potentially, as Favre did, where he was one throw away from going to the Super Bowl?
I don't think he can have that much success with them.
You
He will pale in
you
comparison.
You just talked about how the Jets going into the year with this Aaron Rodgers would be like 16-1, and now he's like unplayable.
I didn't say unplayable, but do I think he'd be a pass away from the Super Bowl? No.
I mean, is this iteration of Aaron Rodgers, Geoff, better than Sam Darnold?
No.
Are you sure?
No. Yeah.
I don't think they're that far off.
Like Favre had the best year of his career statistically that first year in Minnesota.
Darnold
Rodgers
can
is not
still
capable of that.
improve.
What's that?
Yeah, Darnold's still quite young.
Yeah, Darnold's not
Yeah.
21 years old here, okay?
I know, but he's not 32.
Yeah, but Darnold...
He's like 26.
We just watched the best season Sam Darnold is going to ever have. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay, that is highly probable, but in the range of outcomes, like I wouldn't like improving is still on the table for him.
Do you think it's more likely that a team signs Rodgers to the 1-year deal to kick the can down the road, or signs Darnold to whatever he's looking for right now? Because I just don't see a lot of
He makes the
suitors.
most sense in the Raiders. The
Darnold?
Raiders don't have a lot of self-respect, so they can bring him in. Brady seems to like him. The Belichick infrastructure seems to like Rodgers. I think Pittsburgh's off the table. I think Minnesota's off the table.
Why do you think Pittsburgh's off the table?
Tennessee, there's no way Tomlin's bringing him in.
Why
It's
not?
not happening.
Tom-
They will not
Tomlin
coexist.
loves crazy people.
You know, Rodgers
Yeah,
might
but-
have to beg. He might have to do a little bit. Like you have the power
I
dynamic.
don't think so.
Like
He's not
the Jets,
capable of it.
The
He's
Jets
not-
traded a lot and bent heaven and earth for him, which increased his power. The power dynamic changes when he's on the street. Like, right? Like he doesn't have the leverage to be what you're saying. So I'm
He
thinking
will
it is
not
possible
go-
he
no.
could conform.
No, he won't. He won't sign. He won't go anywhere that he can't basically run essentially his show.
Oh, well,
Which
hold
means
on, hold on.
Cleveland-
I was just told for 18 weeks
That makes sense.
that's not what was going on in New York. From you.
I mean, obviously he was given a lot of leeway to do what he needed to do. I just don't think Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh or Minnesota are going to do like. So I said the Raiders, the Browns. That makes sense. The Rams, if Stafford walks, that all makes sense.
I think
You know,
I honestly think the Rams would just roll Jimmy G, Geoff, rather than going to Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I don't know.
Like, are the Saints
I don't
on the
mind your
table if they get rid of Derek Carr?
No, because they can't win.
I don't
Rodgers
know.
is not.
Hold on a second. You think he's going to somewhere
Where
like
just to, like,
winning is
flounder.
an option?
Like, if that's an option, then he's going to the Steelers or he's going to the Vikings. Those are your two options.
I don't
Yeah.
think winning is really.
He could go to Cleveland and win right away. That team was in the playoffs last year,
Oh
and they
my
have a,
God.
like they could win right away in Cleveland. Why not?
Yeah, for sure, man. Trade Miles Garrett, bring in Aaron Rodgers. They're ready to win now.
Yeah, that's win now
Um,
mode.
I don't think Rodgers goes to a team that can win. I think he goes to a shitty fucking team
He's not going to play in that circumstance. He's only going somewhere where he can win.
that he's a backup. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, he
You
will
say
not.
that.
He will not be a backup quarterback. He will either be a
So
start.
then he's going somewhere shitty.
No, or he's going to the Vikings or the Steelers.
Okay, fine. Those are the one like teams that are good. There's rumors that the Jets are trading Devontae to the Chargers.
Oh yeah, he's going to. Well, I don't know if he's traded to the Chargers, but Devontae's going to go now. Enjoy him. I mean, you guys need receivers, I suppose.
What
You
an
sold me a bill of goods. I hope I sell you a bill of goods.
buddy. You're the
You did it to you. It was your fault.
my fault.
You built up Mike Williams in my head. You sold me a bill of goods. You got me very excited, and then when things went sour, you went, "Oh well, man, I don't know."
Wait, hold on. There's nothing I ever told you about Mike Williams that correlated to him being a top 30, top 20, or top 10 wide receiver. I said he had a specific skill that I could see working with Rodgers.
Yeah,
that was
a
it.
specific set of skills in the way that Liam Neeson does in Taken, which is to say, elite.
And you took what Geoff said about being a guy who can go to the very high point of the ball and come down with it. You translated that in your warped mind into he's a top 10 receiver in the league, which then you said and said that Geoff agreed with you.
Geoff was telling me how much he'd love to play with Aaron, and they'd be a good match.
The fit seemed right because Aaron loves to have no clue where it might go, but up chuck it. In the way other quarterbacks would throw it away or take a sack, Aaron loves to up chuck, and Mike is a great high point receiver. There was no chemistry. It never worked. He was off a torn ACL. I'm not here to proclaim anything for Mike Williams. It's a 1-year deal. So he's a free agent, and it'll be who even knows where he goes.
Geoff did a lot of Lady Macbething behind this year.
We've spoken
trying to get
about
me
this,
overexcited,
but
for the
not
Jets.
about Mike Williams. It was about the Jets. Mike Williams wasn't really a part of that.
Yeah, Geoff lost.
I
a lot
bet
of money
the
on
Jets
this.
to win the Super Bowl. I also bet the Eagles and the Chargers. Those are my 3 Super Bowl futures. And, I lost money on the Jets. I believed in the Jets. It's not like I was telling you the Jets were going to be good and then betting against them to lose.
Oh, no. I believe that you believed everything you said. I'm not saying that you were doing anything malicious. I'm just saying you sold me, a fantastical vision of the future, knowing how receptive I would be, how I'm not able to resist that type of I
never told you have the best player at
hand.
every position in games. That's you. I never said that. I said you were excited about 2 years ago's team. It all ended when Rodgers got hurt. And I felt going into this year, the roster was better. So why shouldn't you be excited about this year's team? All of the stuff
all over again.
I was talking about last year. I don't know about next year. I don't know who your quarterback's going to be. So my point was, if you're excited before Rodgers tore his Achilles, maybe you should allow yourself to still be excited because it's the same team that a lot of people, not just you, not just me, thought had a ton of talent, but none of those people who thought the team had talent thought they had the best player at every position like you did.
Let's move.
No one said that to you. You said it to yourself and created something. Then you jerked off Rodgers all year.
You hit on the Garrett stuff about him being traded. I think that Max Crosby will probably be up too, because I do think it's, unlike Tim, I think it's a teardown in Vegas rather than anything else. Like, try to maximize the assets you have. Just looking at the teams with the most cap space next year, Washington seems like a pretty good destination for one of those guys. Chicago, the Chargers have the 5th most cap space, Geoff.
From what? The Raiders were the 2nd worst team in the NFL by record. You don't rebuild by trading away your best players. You rebuild by, using the high draft picks you have to bring in players who are as good as Max Crosby. That's a foolish thing to do.
You have an asset that's not going to be worth basically anything by the time that you're good. Maximize it now. Get everyone on the same page.
It's the NFL. People are good the next year. This is not the NBA, which takes 6 years to build a good franchise.
You're talking to a guy who before has said his bet for worst to first in a division with the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs next year across the whole league is the Raiders.
Would you not have laughed if I had said that about Washington 365 days ago? And they went to the conference championship game.
You're right, but they didn't have Mahomes. They didn't have that division.
What if I said 2 years ago I thought the Texans were that person? You would have laughed at me about that.
You never did. You never did. So
I didn't. But my point was, it happens every single year. It doesn't take 3 years to rebuild. The rebuild can happen.
But what happens?
You can build the plane while you're flying it. Don't give me that.
But to win a division in the AFC South from the pack and in the AFC West with who's at the top are very different things. That's kind of what I'm saying. So will the Raiders be better? Like, sure. But I agree with Pat. The timeline doesn't add up anymore for Max. and he'd be an asset.
You'd get real picks for him.
And you mentioned the Chargers cap room. The
Would you
Chargers
turn
also,
in for a player who's not as good as him. So like whatever. Keep
as
him.
I said last week when we were discussing Miles, Khalil Mack is without a contract, a free agent, and Joey Bosa after last year's restructure has like the 5th highest cap number in the league. So maybe he'll restructure again. I don't know, but it is very likely that Joey's played his last game, so the Chargers will have huge needs for a pass rusher. And if both those guys are on the market, maybe they would be interested.
And I don't know if Max Crosby is on the market, but Myles Garrett wants to be traded. Like, what do you think those guys fetch in return? 2 first-round picks?
No way.
I mean, Garrett has been over the past 5 years, has been the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah, I think Garrett. I mean, people were bringing up the Khalil Mack to the Bears from the Raiders trade? Maybe, but and that was a lot. That'd have been a lot. So I think they do get maybe 2 firsts, Pat.
I mean, Detroit has the 8th most cap room, and you'd have
Yeah, they've got to push all
back.
their chips in.
Yeah, I
to
agree.
me, they can't sit on this and think it's going to be some like maybe I'm wrong, and they're clearly creating a culture. But if I'm them, I've got to be hyper aggressive as well of Buffalo. More so Detroit and being the hyper aggressive because they don't have the elite QB play. And I would try to do everything I can to try to mitigate what could be happening with the loss of some personnel.
Yeah, they lost a superstar defensive coordinator. They need to fill that spot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So they have to be very aggressive, I think, in trying to maintain their status.
Yeah, and their defense will just shockingly look better all of a sudden, regardless of coordinator, if they pair up Myles Garrett to go with Aiden Hutchinson.
And are unlikely to be anywhere close to as injured as they were this season.
True, but do you then miss your window because you still have Goff rolling out as your quarterback?
That's a problem.
The Bills actually have a lot less cap space than I thought. They must have guys they can cut.
Yeah.
Like, Paul, is Von Miller going to be back? Can they get out of that deal?
He's still on the books for a year.
Is he still on the books for a year?
I don't know what the buyout or anything else.
Yeah, there might be an easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, if there's only
my-
1 year left, it could be easy to get out of.
Talk about
My
a
group
team
chat
that I've
is just
forgotten
filled
about.
with people who really, really, really want Myles Garrett.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, what a shock that you would want one of the 3 best defensive players in the NFL on your team.
And they should be
I'm gonna-
hyper aggressive for
I'm
that.
going to level with you, Tim, because Geoff won't. Jets are going to stink next year. Don't get your hopes up.
Oh, I agree. I kind of agree
I didn't
with you.
say anything about.
Don't let
next
Geoff
year.
get into your DMs in the summer.
No,
Oh,
I think
rebuild.
like 4-13 is like on the
Oh,
horizon.
buddy,
I
you're
agree. I
such a
agree with you.
mark. I could.
I agree with you.
Do you know, like, if I wanted to, I could send you sweet nothings starting in like May, around a couple at the draft. Like, not even be persistent. Just every now and then, just whisper something sweet in your DMs about the Jets. I'd have you foaming. I could have you foaming by week 1, like a string around my finger if I wanted.
No, well, that I don't agree. I understand what you're saying. I don't agree. I think I've learned my lesson from this season. And like if I look at next year, I think it's the Patriots who will make the huge step forward in that division, not the Jets.
Could be.
Deebo and Kupp are on the market too. Do you want either of them on the Chargers, Geoff?
Not. I mean, maybe Deebo, but that'd have to be a trade. Kupp, I don't know. Seems like he's up there. I
He'd
don't
be
know
great for the Chargers because they're so cheap they wouldn't have to pay his moving expenses.
who.
Cops.
Kupp.
Buddy, we just built like we have the nicest facility in the league paid out of pocket, okay?
That
Like-
helps when you don't have to pay for a stadium.
We just paid a goddamn coach like top of market. Everyone thought that like we were the Bengals poor and had to like sell stadium naming rights to pay a player. No. We could afford the escrow to give the quarterback what the market said the quarterback was worth. So while like there's a lot of things to throw stones at there, they really have not been they've actually been spending money lately. Kupp, is that the type of player the Chargers need? Is that the receiver the Chargers need? The Chargers need someone who can go over the top. They have not ever had an elite deep ball receiver for Justin Herbert.
Mike
To me,
Williams.
that is a desperate need. No, but he
Stop it.
could high point, but he wasn't like straight line beating guys.
But Deebo's not that guy either.
You would let Joey Bosa walk and spend money on Cooper Kupp? In what world does that make any sense?
That's not what he's saying.
Maybe
Listen,
that's.
Allocate the money you'd pay for someone like Kupp for Bosa, and you'd be better off.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna be really embarrassing, and hopefully my like blinders are off by the time we need to conduct business. I'd rather bring a free agent Keenan Allen home than Cooper Kupp.
none of this solves any of your problem about guy who goes deep and over the top.
No, but I don't. If you're asking me for that player I want to be Keenan Allen, like that role. I want him
Just
to come
draft
back.
people, draft receivers. There's a
Yeah,
million
they
of
did
them.
in the second round. Let's do it
Keep
again.
drafting.
I agree.
I
Tim,
wouldn't spend on these receivers. These receivers are over the hill and too expensive.
Well, I don't want to. I just agree at its core. I want to just build the room through the draft with the way the market, and let other teams pay receivers like insane dollars, and I'll build other positions.
You lost to the Texans because you could block.
Yeah. Oh, people are like mocking the Chargers like tight end 2 from Michigan. No, I learn it. The Chargers are drafting a guard in the first round. If you didn't learn your lesson last year when they passed over Neighbors and Bowers to draft the offensive lineman, I hope you learn your lesson for this draft. If you're going to make bets, they will draft a guard. It's just Jim Harbaugh is the coach. They will draft a guard in the first round. But yeah, no, things are, I mean, coach had a hip replacement, so he's up on the mend. But other than that, like I said, today's day one of New Year, and for losers like me and Tim, there's always next year, and that's what days like today are for.
I thought that was 2 weeks ago.
They're reporting right now that the Bills,
Thanks,
Chargers,
good
Commanders, Steelers, and Houston would be the best fits for Deebo Samuel. What does Deebo even fetch in a trade right now? A third-round pick, maybe?
Can I?
It
don't
can't
know.
be a whole lot.
You okay there?
I hope he goes to the Bills. What a great
No.
The Bills should continue to sign over the hill receivers who don't contribute. It's a long time tradition between starting Terrell Owens and how many other old Amari Cooper, and how many old wash receivers
Nice list.
have Buffalo
man.
brought in.
So,
What?
so the receivers that you're talking about that they brought in over the past 10 years, Owens, Cooper, and Steph Diggs, those would be the three?
Kelvin Benjamin.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Calvin Benjamin wasn't washed. Calvin Benjamin's just no good.
He was like
No, I'm just
8,000
saying.
pounds by the time he got to the
Yeah.
Bears.
Pat mentioned receivers they brought in. That's one that came to mind. That's where my head went on.
Yeah, the next time the Bills draft a good receiver would be the first time in a long time.
I have something football, NFL, I want Tim's take on, and I've got to tell you, I've already got the heebie-jeebies about it. Thinking about it, I'm going to get screwed. The Chargers, hopefully they can win the Super Bowl next year, because the year after, the season's already over. You're like, what the fuck is this psycho talking about?
You're going to Melbourne.
I am scared to death. I am going to Melbourne. I swear to you, I will have night sweats. I will have if I go to Melbourne, it would be like we just rehired Brandon Staley. I'm already tearing up thinking about it. Like I swear to you, the competitive imbalance that game is going to have for whoever is the sacrificial lamb there, I'm already emotional. And I know it's going to be me. I know it's going to be me. You look at the Rams' scheduled opponents for that year, they're not for starters. I don't think they'll do division, and they're going to want a team from the West Coast. The only saving grace
You're
I
crying.
have, the only saving grace I have, Tim, yeah, because the season's over. It would be like my quarterback. It would be like Jets fans when Vinny Testaverde tore his ACL week 1. Like the season is
ruptured his
over.
Achilles, but yes.
Like the season is over. Good luck, Rams. You better win the Super Bowl next year too. Your season's over. This sham of making a team in the season go to the other side of the world. How does that work?
Question.
When do
Question.
I have a
Question. Is it closer to fly from Los Angeles to Melbourne or Los Angeles to London?
Yeah, but at least from London,
Gotta be
we
closer
play
to
a
London.
Hear me out.
Because you go over
From-
the poles, right? To go
Guys,
to London.
I'm
On
just
London-
asking. Is it that much farther?
Yes, I'll tell you why
Is it an extra
logistically.
12 hours?
If the Chargers were going to
That's right.
London, hear me out. If the Chargers were going to London, they would play on the East Coast the week before London and fly from that game.
Maybe they can play in fucking Fiji the week before.
Here's what I would do if I were the league for the Melbourne games. I've been thinking about this.
Do you think it's right? Do you think this is fair?
I think I would make it a divisional game.
So make it the Chiefs. The Chiefs. I hope
week
they send
before,
the Chiefs.
Those two teams. The reason I make it a divisional game is the week before I'm playing them on Thursday night. I'm playing them on the Thursday night game the week before, giving them all the extra time to travel to Melbourne. Then they'll play again their second game in Melbourne. Then they will get the bye week after Melbourne, and I would have that game be on a Monday.
You got to learn how to say it right. It's Melbourne.
Or something like that.
You got to pronounce it Melbourne.
I'd have rather Eli made the Hall of Fame with
like
Gates
cans.
than have to go to Melbourne.
So it's 10 hours and 25 minutes to London. It's 15 hours to Melbourne from LA.
But isn't the time difference like so much crazier in Melbourne?
Melbourne.
They have to get there and then feel good enough to play a game.
Well, they have an opponent
and then fly home.
I would, you know what? This is going to sound crazy because you know how I hate to travel. If we went to cover a game, I'd go to the Melbourne game.
Fuck off. It's like you wouldn't.
That right now. It's the only time in my life I would ever get to Australia. I'd go cover the Melbourne game. The PME down under.
That'd be great. Yeah, listen, we got a lot of golf fans down under as well. We just have a big blowout at the game. We can do another live show from there. Well, Geoff cries about playing there.
Yeah, I'd be like, I hate that I'm here. I'll be Tim. Why am I here? I hate it. I'm so unhappy. No, I don't even understand how.
I only want to go for like 2 days. We basically would be.
We're not flying 23 hours to stay somewhere for 2 days and fly back 23 hours.
You can stay longer.
But sorry, this would have to be week 1, right? The game would have to be week 1 because you have to get there and like have time to get there and adjust.
I don't know, man. These F1 guys go across the world.
And then you play on Thursday, and it's like Wednesday there.
I don't know. Don't give me this shit. We see many people finish at the Dubai Desert Classic, get on a plane, and go play in Palm Springs 3 days later. Like, it's fine, man.
Geoff, this year, after what the NFL did on Christmas Day, and it being a Wednesday, and what it did with the top AFC teams, they don't care about fairness anymore.
Yeah, they let a guy who's president of the team call games. And, you know, they're going to, last year they had rules. At some point, they're going to lighten the rules because they're going to let him do whatever he needs. Thank God the NFL cabal decided to stop. It had one line it wouldn't cross. There was one line it wouldn't cross. That's the integrity of those Hall of Fame voters.
Well, okay, so Eli does not get in to the Hall of Fame. I thought that after he made the kick of destiny, he probably should have got in, though. I feel like they made a mistake now.
What is shocking about Eli not getting in is apparently the reports that it wasn't even close. Now, maybe that was because people realized in the room who want to stand for him that it just wasn't going to happen this year. So, like, there was like a red stop and like he's just not getting in for his ballot, drop it. So people stopped pressing it and there'll be the great case. And he is a Hall of Famer. He will get in. But first ballot is something they're trying to preserve, and he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think anyone could discuss that on any level.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did the right thing.
At the Super Bowl party we were at, my friend's dad was there as well, and he's a big Packers fan, and he had the theory that Sterling Sharp was not in the Hall of Fame because there's already too many Packers in the Hall of Fame. That's why it took him so long.
Our whole lives have been a crazy backlog at receiver, and it's because as receivers become way more prominent, the backlog is probably going to get bigger. Our whole life has been
What did I say in the room, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
This exact argument.
Our whole life has been a receiver backlog. Like, look when Art Monk finally got in. Right? It's just, it's a tough cookie. They're gonna have to figure something out. With that sharp,
It's going to
So
happen.
do you think Larry Fitzgerald will struggle next year?
No.
Larry Fitzgerald will get in first ballot.
That's part of
No.
the problem, though, is you have these guys that are clear first ballot, second ballot guys that push these types of guys who are deserving Hall of Famers just down the line. When a Randy Moss comes out, well, Randy Moss is going in. When Larry Fitzgerald comes out, Larry Fitzgerald's getting in. Hell, when is Bolden up? Bolden's getting in right away.
No, Bolden's
Calvin
up next
Johnson.
year. There's Bolden might have even been this year.
Bolden won't get in next year. Calvin
no.
Johnson or the year after because Calvin Johnson's up
Oh,
that
yeah,
year.
that's right. Yeah, so I'm dead
Calvin
wrong.
Johnson has to go in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he was only
Wasn't Calvin already in?
Bolden was a semifinalist. Yeah, Calvin got in last year, didn't he?
Yeah, Calvin got in last year. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
been
yeah.
retired that long.
Yeah, it's been.
See,
he left early.
So yeah,
he left us too soon.
so Bolden didn't get in this year. Bolden should be in the Hall of Fame.
Over those four guys, though?
Maybe. I mean, listen, Larry Fitzgerald has great numbers. Man, Bolden was awesome, and he has like every
Larry
accolade
Fitzgerald
you would
was-
want.
Because we didn't really see Jerry Rice in his prime, Larry Fitzgerald was the best playoff receiver we ever saw.
I mean, I have a hard time believing, like people say, Jerry Rice, like greatest football player ever. I can't fathom a world in which there was a receiver that he could have been better than Calvin Johnson, but apparently he was. Like Calvin Johnson's the greatest.
I don't think it's valuable to talk about players that we just didn't see. Like there's just different eras.
Agreed.
Jerry Rice was the best quarterback, the best player of his era, and that's good enough.
But yeah, receivers like it's a situation, right? Holt and Wayne are gonna be just on this long list. Like I said earlier, guys like Monk and Andre Reed, it took forever. So it'll be interesting to see it play out. I am just, well, Eli, certainly not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I was convinced the Manning family cabal that the Hall of Fame would not be able to turn down like Omaha Productions being there for the win.
And
What are you watching on the
influence-
internet so much that the word cabal has really become a part of your like strong vocabulary?
Why have
Jeff?
I used it when I used it?
Yes,
one?
you've used it like 13 times in this show.
To me, it's because he was on the Giants. The Giants had that type of sway, which made me think that a Manning who played on the Giants and won 2 Super Bowls would be a first ballot Hall of Famer because it's just the way the story gets written.
But it'll be interesting to see how like based on how they came out of the room this year. Like, is Eli even a lot? Like, how close will Eli be next year? Are they going to make Eli wait a little bit? I'm surprised by that.
Does this happen to, is what happened to some of these receivers going to happen to Eli? Because next year, as Tim mentioned to me, Breves is going to be eligible. Like, he has and he probably has a better, he's probably a first ballot guy. So that pushes Eli down the list a little bit more. The next year, Roethlisberger, Gronk, and AP, and Antonio Brown are all going to be potential first ballot guys. Like Andrew Whitworth will be on that. He'll probably go in as an offensive tackle right away. There's a lot of really good guys. And like, listen, I don't think that Cam Newton is going to make the Hall of Fame, but then like even guys like him start becoming eligible. Like Roethlisberger is going to get in over Eli. Breeze is going to get in over Eli. Next year, Rivers is going to be behind Eli in this pecking order. If he ever gets in, it's going to be like 15 years from now. Because the year after that, Tom Brady is going to be eligible, and Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan will fall into the Eli bucket, the Rivers bucket of a guy who was great, has an MVP, has all these stats, but it's going to be like, probably not.
It'll be interesting how they play it out because a lot of the modern stats will kind of, be weird, especially like as all the categories, right? How the game has changed. But I do agree that Phillip should never get in before Eli. I think Phillip will get in one day, but it'll be a wait. It's no rush. But this summer, boys, I'm going to see the whole gang. Like the whole gang is going to be there.
Are you going to bring your doll with you? Get him to sign the doll.
Maybe we'll take a picture.
Just don't tell anyone that doll once made out with the Phillip Rivers doll.
Yeah. No. So, yeah, it should be. I don't know. They kept it tight though. They could have gone 5 names. They only put in 4. Strange.
Last thing, and you mentioned it earlier. I said we'd talk about it. Kellan Moore is going to be the Saints head coach, and it seems like he's bringing your guy, Brandon Staley, to be his DC.
I really like Kellen Moore. It's unfortunate the Chargers offense couldn't block anyone or get off the mat his 1 year there. I mean, good luck. I don't know how he could think that bringing in Brandon is the move.
Well, he
Maybe-
reported to him, so now he wants him to report to him.
but maybe that's just like some news loser. Just like that's an easy dot. Like where
I
has
hope
he
not,
been?
because I don't want to spend a whole year on this show next year listening to you take just shot after shot at the New Orleans Saints and their defense, because it will be nonstop.
Oh yeah, if he's the coordinator, like yeah, he'll wear it all. He will
Yeah.
wear everything.
That's
will
what I mean.
not
I just
let him not wear it.
it will be
And
not.
the
If you
saddest
people
part
think
is-
he's been obsessive about the Brady stuff, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And the saddest part is, Tim, the Chargers played the Saints last year. So to think like I don't even get in there for a few years would just be crushing. Would just be crushing.
Are you gonna hop back in Staley's brother's DMs?
Forgot about
After like
That
a
was a
tough loss
one-off.
or something for the Saints next year?
That was a one-off,
Report to the
that was a
FBI.
one-off interaction. You want me to send another message? I could say hi. we haven't spoken. That was a one-off.
I would
I'm-
suggest you
the guy
don't do
along.
that. Like you're trying to
Yeah,
win not most insane. That would like kind of push you up to the precipice of most insane. Feuding with
Yeah, no, that's
Staley's
what I
brother
mean.
for no reason.
My point being is that was like a one interaction that he started. I didn't even engage it. I took it. I changed the lane, but I didn't engage that, and I don't like tend to do that.
What
that's
if
not-
Brandon Staley doesn't even have a brother, and that's just his burner account?
No, I know for a fact that's not true.
You've done some digging, have you? You got your
Listen,
cabal on it.
when you are my coach, I know about you. Like I know about
Where you live.
No, not quite, but I know about you.
This is so creepy.
I know you, but you don't know who this is.
Yeah, in the same way, a lot of like Tim, we'll do a
Jeff
live
is
show.
Dale Gribble.
Tim, here's the thing about the live show. You want to know what's so fucked up about it? It's
Sure.
a room full of people that know so much about you. You don't know a thing about any of them. So that's the thing. Like, I know a lot about Brandon Staley. He's not supposed to know anything about me.
That wasn't what I thought was weird. What I thought
That
was
I
weird
know
is
that he has a real brother because, like, the Chargers would tweet sometimes before a game, like the coach.
Do you
family
think I know
picture?
the
Like,
name?
what do you mean?
Like, I think Robert Saleh has 7 children. Do you think I know any of their names?
I don't know any of Staley's children.
Do you know of any of Phillips' children's names?
Gunner, because he's a quarterback and he
See?
was just
See?
recruited
See?
to Clemson, I believe.
Okay.
And hopefully he'll replace Justin Herbert.
What if he's no good?
Then I don't want him.
Okay. Well, we made it. Had some fun talking about the Super Bowl and other things. What are we going to have coming up here? Because I'm going away in 2 weeks, so I do want to bank a show. We're going to have the Geoff Power Rankings. What's the other show that we do? Do we ever do the win totals review? I feel like we say we're going to do that every year and just never do it.
I think I had Eagles over the Bengals in the Super Bowl
I don't know.
on that show. Or
No, I'm saying that like we do a show where we go back and take a look at some of like the good picks we made and the like the really hilarious bad picks that we made.
I mean, if you want.
Looking for a show
I
idea.
guess.
So you don't want to do it, okay? Well, we won't do that.
Okay, no, but yeah, my rankings. I just asked Tim, like, Tim, who do you think should be dead last?
Who had the absolute worst?
It's not
season?
just having the worst season, because you could have the worst season, but
Yeah,
like,
like,
maybe you
like
made
we
a good
did-
coach move, or the fan base is excited about something. Like last year, the Bears wouldn't have been last; they actually
No.
ranked pretty high. Titans don't get that with the first pick, but Titans are on the short list for
Maybe
last.
Cleveland.
I'll tell you that much. Yeah, Cleveland.
I
you got my favorite.
if Brandon
Yeah.
Staley is the DC for the Saints are going to be last in your power rankings.
Spoiler.
I can connect those two dots. I had Philly over Detroit in the NFC. Geoff, you had Philly over Green Bay, and Tim, you had the Bears over Philly in the NFC Championship game. And I had Chiefs over Buffalo. Boom.
So
Cincinnati.
you called it.
Yeah, Cincinnati over Kansas City, and then Kansas City over the Jets were Tim's picks. In the Super Bowl, I had Kansas City over Philadelphia. Geoff, you had Philly over Cincinnati, and Cust had Kansas City over the Bears in the championship game.
So
I
you
don't know. The way
called.
Jeff talks about the Bears. Maybe the Jeff would have the Bears dead last.
Not a chance. Not a chance. You're trying again
Since
to
they
make
whiffed on
something
that first
up.
pick.
Have you seen this new guy on the European tour for golf? Extra zesty DTR, Tim?
I have not. Oh, one thing I did want to mention. You sort of brought it up yesterday, just to have a go at me. That when Fox had the opportunity during the Super Bowl to hype up their product, they hyped up the UFL
Instead of live.
instead of live. And I was
football
thinking
fans.
and wouldn't say anything, and then you said it, and I was like, oh God.
You're like, I hope Pat didn't see that. I hope Pat didn't see that.
I'm just
I hope Pat
hoping he
didn't
wasn't
see
making
it.
the connection that I was making. But as usual, he was reading my mind.
So
and
this
brought up
was
things.
Fox Sports bragging about their properties, and they didn't mention
Like,
that they have.
There was a
live.
UFL commercial on the Super Bowl broadcast advertising when the UFL was going to start on Fox.
Yeah, and it wasn't the only thing they talked about the Daytona 500, which that's a huge property. I get it, but it's like, come on, man! Like you have in many ways, the best golfers on earth. Like talk about them a little bit.
Maybe they don't feel that way. Maybe only you feel that way.
Okay, sure. That John Rahm's terrible.
Nope, no one said
Cameron Smith is terrible.
Nope.
and,
They
Bryson is a nobody.
literally have dozens of people who want to watch this.
It's a problem. Oh well.
You were off on your projection by 900,000 viewers.
My projection would never have been made if I thought they were going to be at FS2.
Well, maybe
To be
sometimes
fair.
you have to look
In
at
my
these
defense.
things before you make bets.
Neither of us understood this or knew this. But
I don't think it bodes very well that even if it had been on regular Fox, it was going to do any ratings.
I don't know. But that we'll figure out in April when it's on Fox, I guess.
All right. Well, that will do it. On the Pat Mayo Experience, we shall return, the three of us. I believe we're off from Best Bets this week because Rob is away. So I want to thank Geoff. I want to thank Paul and Jared. The coin noticeably absent from today's episode. But you know who wasn't? Tim Andergust.
Tim Andergust.
That is not my name.
And we'll keep running through some more show ideas that we can do. The best Babe stuff to caught Geoff off guard, so we'll have to find something else to do, rankings-wise. So win totals, Geoff's power rankings, the QB rankings that we do every year. If you guys have an idea for us, hey, it's all fair game. We can bang out like 2 of these at once. We can pile them up for the entire time. So that will be a lot of fun. If you're missing Geoff and I, we do a golf show every single Monday on the Pat Mayo Experience. It's a lot like this, but we talk about golf and not football. Anyway, that'll do it for me. You smash the like on the way out. Code Mayo at Underdog. And I will see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!